That I went back and I kept treating every 5 days until I got the mite count down. But I went all the way up to 7 days and I'm still getting 2,000 mite count. And I believe what was happening is I have a commercial beekeeper in the Buckfield area, and my bees were bringing them in. And they were knocking them off as they were coming in. And right now those hives are still alive, so they never got to the virus stage, because it takes 8 days to cap a cell. And the mite has to be in the cell when it's capped. So if you could treat to keep that progress not going into your cells, you know, and that's what you need to do. You need to treat. It's actually, you're supposed to treat 4 days, 5 times. But if you go beyond that and you're still getting a 2,000 mite count, them ain't your mites. You know, I was asking them if they belonged to me, but none of them spoke when they died. But, I mean, it was incredible how many mites I had coming in. But we were in a major dearth this year, where no honey was coming in, no nectar was coming in. Everything shut down in August, so all the bees were going around robbing these other hives. Right now, I'm hoping everybody else's hives are dead, because I could get a reinfestation. So I don't care to sell other people's hives. I don't really care. Like I told these guys, you know, it's not like I don't like your money, but hopefully you get it and you can keep your hives alive. 2 things create mites: not treating them. When a queen is laying 600 eggs a day, and you're getting a mite infestation of I've seen exactly 2 mites coming in on 1 bee. And if your queen is laying 600 eggs a day, and they're bringing in 2 mites on a bee, it's not going to take long to fill 600 to 1,200 eggs full of mites, and they're going to come out with 3 eggs and 3 mites. You do the math, and it shows you in some of the books that they multiply and triple. It's like a pyramid effect. So you can lose your bees really quick. You know, another thing, some people say, well, I don't have bees by my house. Well, that's fine and dandy, but you need to go on your bees every 10 days and take care of your swarm cells. If you don't take care of your swarm cells, guess what? Your neighbor's got bees. You own trees, your bees went away from you, they ain't being treated. They didn't go more than a mile. So they're in a general vicinity somewhere creating problems for you. So to keep bees, you need to be vigilant on the mites, the swarms that create more mites. Next year, after January 1st, this coming year, this medicine right here is duromycin. It's for fall brood. I treat every year for it. I never had it. In my area, there's been fall brood. Commercial beekeepers around me had it. If it goes through, it could go through just as fast as these mites. And there's no way to combat it. And right now in the state of Maine, there's only 3 veterinarians that will give you medication for it. So I don't think you're going to be bringing bees back if you get fall brood. Any old equipment in barns, don't even bother with it. I mean, if you take and scorch the boxes, fine, but don't use any of the frames from old bee equipment. If you know where there's any in a barn, get rid of it. Because if this stuff goes through the state of Maine, or through the country, I mean, it'll go through the whole country because it's countrywide, and we can't use this anymore. Commercial people will get it somehow, if they get it from another country or whatever, but the commercial people will get it, they have to get it.
Would you talk about that every 4 days? Because Lincoln Senate was talking about that at the conference this weekend.
Right.
About oxalic acid and why you, just go over that one more time.
Right. The 4 days, every 4 days, the first 8 days, the cells, remember the cell's not capped until the 8th day. So you treat. Right, and then that starts your treatment. So then you go 4 days. 4 days, 5 times. And that takes care of the whole brood cycle. So at the end of that brood cycle, you should be pretty much mite-free, or close to it. Lincoln has another way of doing it, and I was just talking to him about it. It's almost like a demery. You know, I think, was it you that was going to teach about demery this year? Somebody in here was thinking about teaching the demery method. But anyway, the demery method is where you find some queen cells and your hive's going to swarm on you, so you want to stop it. Take a hive body, put it on the platform with some drawn-out foundation. Move your queen down there. Put a queen excluder on it. put your other boxes on top of that. Let the nursery bees go down and take care of the queen down below. Now, you start treating with the oxalic acid, which you broke the brood cycle. Once you break the brood cycle, you could get rid of the mites. And then he moved them out of this yard, which he's in Georgia, and he owns a lot of land. He rents a lot of land down there, acres and acres. And then he doesn't have mites in this one particular yard because it's completely clean. It's like if you took the top of your hive and got a package. You took that package and you dumped it in a box. And you hit it twice with oxalic acid. And then you moved it to somewhere in the state where there's no mites. You wouldn't have mites. Without brood, you don't have mites. Without brood, you could treat your bees better if you're not around anybody else. There's places in Arizona, they swear by small cell foundation. It's not the small cell foundation. They're so far out in the desert, there's nobody around them. That's the key. Like, you guys are lucky up here. But the more beekeepers you start to accumulate, and the people don't really go through their hives and pay attention to them, that's where the frustration's going to start coming in. Where you're going to start creating more. I mean, our bee clubs down there are growing leaps and bounds. The state of Maine is growing with bees. Everybody wants bees. They think you pop a beehive in your backyard and whammo, you make honey. Well, it's not true. You make problems. And that's basically, what I don't want to see happen is to lose a lot of bees to mites or diseases. We will come out of it eventually. It's been 30 years maybe. 35 years with these mites. I think somebody would have came up with something to get rid of them, but they haven't yet. The quick strips, the formic acid, when you got honey on, that works really well. You can treat with that. It's temperature sensitive, and it's old bee sensitive. If you got a lot of old bees in your hive, these guys laughing. You're going to see a big mite. You're going to see a big bee kill. But it's only going to kill your old bees. Once in a while, it'll kill a queen if it's too warm. But but then there's another one that has tactic in it. And that's a 48-day treatment. I don't believe it'll go 48 days. But you could use that in the spring, and you could use that in the fall. And that works really good for cleaning up stuff. The confectionery sugar, when I do it in the wintertime, the bees are grooming each other. By springtime, I can't even find them mites. Because they're grooming. When I'm sprinkling that stuff on, they're grooming each other like monkeys.
Sprinkling it on the hive in the winter?
Yeah, right on the bees, yeah. It's right, it's like, take it, like I said, you hold up the cover, you shake it on them.
Only in the wintertime?
Yeah, because in the summertime, the mites will climb back up on the bees. If you do it in the wintertime, they actually have blowers. I don't know if you've seen them in the bee book, but they're blowers. You put confectionery sugar in, you put it up to the hole, and you give it a poof, and they start grooming each other. But in the summertime, it doesn't work because the bees come back up. Confectionery sugar was an organic treatment. 5-10 years ago, everybody wanted to, try. They would have. I have one made. I made one because somebody said you need this, a screen, a window screen that goes on top of your hive. You sift it over the top of the bees. Then I went to this. Confectionery sugar mixer type thing. It's like this is it. It's simple. All it is a spice shaker with marbles in it. Keeps the stuff loose.
What's the proportion of cinnamon to sugar?
About 2 tablespoons of sugar to half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And Dave Mitzke down in Florida, the Lincoln Senate's supposed to be checking in on this. Dave Mitzke didn't tell us about this. Bonnie found it online somewhere. I was looking for something for Nozema. And Bonnie found it online somewhere, and it just disappeared. We don't even know where it went. But Dave Mitzke in Florida says cinnamon has a bacterial properties in it that helps the bees, with the Nozema. Any beehives that I feed a lot of sugar water to in the winter, Fumagellin bee. Because the sugar water is different than the honey. The honey is acidic, and the sugar water is alkaline. So I usually give them a couple of doses of this in my bottle feeders. The Lincoln Senate just said something to me, and somebody told me this a long time ago, that Lincoln Senate actually puts it in a mister, and he mists the bees with it. And it's a tablespoon of this to 2 gallons of water, but you mix it heavier. You know, you would want to mix it in probably a gallon, you know, to 2 tablespoons. And then when you mist them, they all get it on them and lick it off, so they get a better treatment. Tony Batchelor, which is a commercial beekeeper near me, said years ago when he uses it, he don't use it anymore, but he used to put it in a mason jar, put holes in it, and shake it all over the bees. Well, everybody took it one step farther, and they're like, you gotta feed it with 2 gallons of water, you know, and sugar, you know, which really messes up your hive, because now you're putting more liquid in it than they need. They might not even need any. They might not even take it down. This is like $4 a bottle.
What is that?
Pure John B. A lot of these medicines, you know, if you guys in the bee club buy big bottles of it, you can probably dole it out. This is light sensitive.
Al, what is that stuff again?
Pure John B. Here, you can pass it around.
Have you done anything with vinyl?
Vinyl? That's for mites. Yeah.
I know, we talked to Kevin Bacon, he was using it for a no-edema treatment too.
No, that's for tracheal mites. I put that, it's funny because some people liquefy it, they put it in on paper towels, they put it in the hives on paper towels. Some people throw the whole little bag they sell in the bottom of the hive. He's putting it in sugar syrup.
Yeah, it's putting it in the sugar syrup.
Nah, I take the crystals, the menthol crystals, and I actually throw them in my smoker. Get a good fire going, throw them in the smoker, walk up to the hive, put it right in the hole. It works really good. You don't want to breathe it in. You think you're smoking, you know, cools or... But that's how I do it, and that's how I was taught to do it. You know, an old guy that has 700 hives, he's been doing it that way for years, and it seems to be working. And I don't think tracheal mites are such a problem anymore that they used to be. And then there's one study that says exolic vaporizer helps get rid of tracheal mites. But I don't know, I can't prove it. I can't say it for sure. But you guys never treated for tracheal mites? The way you know you have tracheal mites in the summertime or in the spring is when you got bees flying out of your hive and they're all walking around in front of the hive, climbing up on the grass and falling off. And that's pretty much a lot of wind, the tracheals are filled up. If you don't see that, that's one of the triggers. I did have it. One time I bought a nuke from a guy. They did have tracheal mites. As soon as I treated them with the smoker, it kind of went away.
So menthol crystals in the smoke?
Menthol crystals. Yeah. If you like cools, you're okay.
Just the other day, I was reading about, you mix some sort of a patty with an oil. A grease patty, you put it in, and the bees get it on their body, because the bees, like all insects, breathe through holes in their sides. They don't breathe through the mouth.
Right.
And so their bodies get covered with this oil, and then the tracheal mites can't stick to them, so they fall off. And
So those are varroa mites.
No, the
tracheal
tracheal
mites?
mites, the tracheal, they make patties with shortening, and
The only patties I know made up with shortening were made with dermycin, terramycin, or Thailand. And it's made of a shortening and pollen patty.
It had nothing
Nothing to do with...
It was the grease patties, and they were...
That's what they call a grease patty.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you had to add peppermint to it because they can't smell. Oh, it's made with lard and sugar. And then you put it in there, but you put peppermint in it because the bees can't smell that, and that'll make...
I use wintergreen on a lot of stuff.
Wintergreen?
Yeah, wintergreen.
Well, anyhow,
right.
I didn't...
But I never heard of that treatment for tracheal mites.
Yeah. Well, it's in one of the...
I know one of the, a lot of the bee magazines, they sell stuff for follow brood. It's, the patties similar to that they sell for follow brood.
Well, Gary told me we didn't have a problem with that anymore, so I didn't make it. My bees died.
No, you know what? You guys are pretty clean up here. You know what? The closer you get to the barrens, I mean, you got trucks coming through here all the time. Somebody loses a swarm, you know, you don't know. I mean, trucks turn over or whatever, people lose their bees up in this area. barrens, there's a lot of diseases that come up from the barrens, because there's hives from all over the world. California, all over the country, go up to the barrens. So you gotta just be vigilant on your own hives. You know, go through them. I was really surprised that Bob went through his hives as thorough as that a couple of weeks ago. I was like, yeah, Bob got it.
Dick helped.
You helped him? You helped him? Good. Very good. Yep.
Using bump guard strips
Yep.
and take them out after 30 days.
Yep.
Do you have to do that, or you just leave them?
I would take them out. If it says take them out, I would take them out. I kind of like the strips. The hop guard is pretty good. I don't hear anything. Tony Janovic says it's not the best, but I think I like the Amatraz strips better. Apistan or Avogard. Yeah, that has Amatraz, and it's a 48-day treatment. I don't think it lasts 48 days, it's a 48-day treatment. And you have to go back and pull them off too. I use
when should I stop treatment with bump guard?
You got any other beekeepers near you?
Not real close, no.
Do you see any problems with mites?
Not certain. I don't think so.
You see any bees with shriveled wings?
No.
Small bees. Small as a fly. Might not have you ever pulled your entrance out and see mites? Do you have entrances? Do you have screen bottom boards?
No, I took my screen bottom board off here.
Well, you have an entrance reducer, right?
Yeah.
Any entrance reducer without a screen bottom board, you pull that entrance reducer out, your mites are going to be piled up if they're dead behind that entrance. For some crazy reason, and there's a color like the color of Bonnie's bag right there. For some reason, in my eyes, I can see those mites really good on that bottom board with that color. Darker colors, you don't see the mites as good. You got to get your face right there. I don't know how I got a sting here and a sting over here. But I mean, you got to get right down there. You know, get your face right in the board to see them if it's dark.
Can you explain to folks that maybe don't know about opening up drone combs to see the mites?
Yep. And I use a lot of times I'll pull drone comb out. And I'll start picking at it. Well, like I told you guys, I had a whole frame of drone, you know, and I'd take it home and I'd pick out as many as I could and see what my mite count is. A lot of times it's pretty much nil. You know, this year it was nil. I put it in the freezer, kill them, because I don't want that many drones. Only when I'm breeding queens is I want a lot of drones, but pick them out with a toothpick. This year, I don't know what it was this year. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I was breaking hives apart. And I wasn't finding that burr comb with drones comb in it. Did you guys see that? How about in your hives? Did you see drones in the middle of your hives when you open the hives?
To the bottom, in the brook.
In between the brood nests?
I had it early and then I had it late.
And I don't know what happened this year. It was really weird. It was like, man, I'm going through all these hives, and usually when I pop open hives, I'm finding drone comb, you know, burr comb in the middle with drones in it. And this year, you know, thinking back, it's like, you know, that was my quickest check for mites, was crack that sucker open and you got all these white larvae floating around, and, you know, I didn't have that this year. They didn't, for some reason, they knew that it was going to be a bad year. They kicked out drones early this year. You know, all my nukes they were done by August. They were kicking them, throwing those drones out like crazy. The bigger hives have some drones.
What does that mean?
I go back to the, you said by the entrance reducer.
Yeah.
The might look like the color of that bag. Does it look kind of like dust?
No, I have mites right here.
They're
The
red.
color of that bag is my bottom board. One year I was painting my garage, and I was kind of sunblind. I walked in Home Depot and I wanted to buy some paint. And I walked in there and I wanted to buy gray. And I ended up walking up to the color chart and said to the lady, I want 5 gallons of this. And actually my garage is that color. I couldn't bring it back because I was the one that said I wanted it. So I painted the garage. When I had some left over, I painted my bottom boards. And for some crazy reason, that shows up mites really good.
But the mites
The color
are
of the mites, though.
red.
Right here. They're red. They're brown and red. When they're first born, they're like a pinkish color.
Yeah.
Then they turn like red, then they turn brown. But I have a whole pile of them right here, you can look at them through this magnifying glass. And I have...
Because I have a lot of dust, looks like dust or by my entrance, we did some bits of the color of that bag there.
Color.
Oh, that's probably pollen.
They're probably pollen.
That's what I thought it
Yeah.
was, okay.
But here, you can look at these bites, look at these bees too, these bees are small, because they have this bite. I have a frame right here that died. These bees died because of mites. They're in the frames right now, you can see them. And then if you look at the frame really close, you can actually see mite feces. You wouldn't believe mites get crap that much, but they do. In the cells. So when you guys are done, come up, I'll talk to you about it, you can look at it. If nobody's ever seen eggs, I've got a frame of eggs. You can see the brand new eggs that the bees lay. A lot of people have a hard time seeing eggs until they actually see them. And a lot of people don't understand how to hold the frame to look at eggs. When you look at eggs, hold the frame up like this with the sun behind your back. Now you're looking right to the bottom of the frame. If you took it and you held it like this, you can't really see to the bottom of the frame because you don't have the right angle. So when you come up here, pick this up like this, you look through it, it's a black frame, the eggs pretty much stand right out of it. Turn it upside down, put the sun behind your back. If you have the DTs, don't do it when you think the queen's on it, because she might fall off.
Are you only using off-road acid now, or?
Right now,
No, as a treatment.
so I'll use a tactic too.
When you do,
When I pull the honey off, the only time I did it is after I pulled all my honey off, when I used the tactic. Because I knew I couldn't, I pulled the honey off, I'm the one being show, so if I pull the honey off, now I gotta go home and extract that stuff, it doesn't happen overnight. I'm not gonna get back in 4 days to treat that hive, so I gotta have a longer treatment until I can go back to it.
so you do anything in the spring, or you just wait till?
No, I treat all the hives in the spring too, but I treat them with the oxalic acid. Pretty much my mites are nil. And I've had people up in Byron and other places that have open hives, and they're like, wow, there's no mites. And I take it because of the confectionery sugar, that really beats them down in the wintertime. They're not rooted up so much. So when they're in there grooming, I've done it in observation hives and watched them, they're like monkeys. Or when they got pollen on it, if you have an observation hive, you can watch them clean each other when they got pollen on them. So if you do this in the wintertime, you're going to come up really clean from the spring. And then I treat them again with the oxalic acid just to make sure that all the bees I sell are as clean as I can possibly get them. I don't want to sell anybody any sick hives.
How early are you doing that? May?
April. Yeah, hey, I reverse it. Everybody says reverse when dandelion blossoms come. By the time dandelion blossoms come now, you got swarm cells. So you're already too late, you're behind, and my reversing is, you lift up the box, you got brood in the first box, the second box looks healthy, third hive body goes right on with foundation in the middle, undrawn foundation on the side. Gives the queen a lot more room to come up and lay, and then as soon as I make up all my nukes and everything, then it goes the opposite. The outside frames that are undrawn go in the middle, and drawn out ones go on the outside because I use it as a queen excluder to keep the queen in the first 2 boxes. So I don't run queen excluders, but I do manipulate frames undrawn and drawn, to keep everything in check. It's a lot of work running 3 hive bodies. It's a lot of weight to be lifted. Every time you go look for swarm cells, take that third hive body off, put it on the ground, take the second one, lift it up, look underneath it. If you got swarm cells, if I have swarm cells, a lot of times I'll have an entrance with me or something. I'll lift up the box from it, fine. I'll look underneath it, and I'll see swarm cells. I won't put that box back down. I'll count the frames over, then I'll throw a board underneath it like this to keep it up off the bottom so I don't crush the queen cells. Then I'll go out and pull the frames out that I want to pull out of that hive. And I only pull the cells out that I want to pull out, and if I if I have eggs, that means the queen does not want to swarm. The new bees are gonna swarm, not that old queen. So if I have eggs, all the queen cells come out. If I don't have any eggs, 2 queen cells stay in. But believe it or not, I don't know if you've seen this, but mostly it's the new queen cells that are gonna swarm. Because a lot of times when I got queen cells that are 10 days old, they're already capped off, and the bottoms are really brown, that queen is not ready to swarm because she's still laying eggs. They gotta run her around the hive and let her lose weight before she can fly away. Another thing you could do is if you don't want swarms, cut the queen's wing off. And then you might find her right out in front of your hive. She can't fly only in circles. That's the only other way I know to keep the bees from swarming, is by trimming one of the wings. I never did it.
Oh, just trim once.
Just trim one thing. No, a lot of people, that's an old-fashioned way of keeping, right? You've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
Clipping wings,
Yeah.
it's great as long as the queen don't fall off the frame or something.
The wings help her stay on the frame, you think?
But when she falls off, she ain't gonna get back in the hive.
Crawl out. Give her a ladder.
I heard that what they'll do is they don't realize that they don't have the full wings, and they'll try to fly, and that's why they end up outside, because they're ready to go.
Right, but you catch them really easy.
Well,
You don't need a ladder.
Yeah.
If you go check your hives, you know, if you don't check your hives for 3 months, you might have a problem with skunk bite eating. Or if you check your hives every 10 days, or a third of your yard, you should even check them more than that, but the bees will be right there in a cluster on the ground. But usually it's not, it's really funny because I'm finding out that the old queen usually is not the one that's swarming. Our class teaches swarming, and our class always says, the old queen swarms. And then I say, if the old queen swarms, how could you have 4 swarms in a row? You have 4 old queens in your hive? So that theory goes right out the window, because they could swarm to death. You could have a hive that is huge, 60,000, 70,000 bees in it. 3 weeks later, you got a handful of bees